when we talk about De'Von Achane's historic performance against the Denver Broncos in context, one of the first things that we want to talk about is how they are scheming him. This looks like a punt return, and it essentially is. When you get speedy backs and you can run gap plays, you want to run toss because you can get wide rushing lanes. And you can see here, I mean, look how wide this rushing lane is with a lead blocker going downhill against the defensive back. This is easy relative to a lot of plays that a running back would gain. And you can see here that when you look in the box, we're going to look at it from this perspective first. Look in the box, man on man in the box from the left of center. You have the center, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players, including the running back, against players left of center, 1, 2, 3, 4, who are in the box. 7 on 4. 7 on 4 on that side. And then you get this late motion, which pulls the flat defender outside because they have to account for the possibility of a wheel route with the speedy Mostert. And so you have a soft edge here with this line, this cornerback who's out of the play, really, when you're talking about man-on-man advantages in the box. You have a 7 on 4. This widens this man further. So now you're going to enhance the impact of being able to seal inside, get double teams on linebackers, and free up this puller so that he can get all the way down into the flat, give Achane a running start, and it's relatively easy. Look at it one more time from the red zone view, and you're going to see 7 on 4, man advantage to the left side, starting on the right hash, working to the opposite. So you give Achane a runway to see the lanes developing, huge lanes. These are craters. And he can set that up and get 26. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about some of these wide rushing lanes, but let me correct you here. De'Von Achane is not just an outside runner. Now, he's not a tough physical player in terms of breaking tackles, but he can handle working inside. And the big thing that you see here is that he understands how to change his stride length with his footwork, be able to set up this counter, or where these two pullers are working to the right side, and weave around penetration and get downhill for a nice 4-yard gain on a play that really he could have screwed up. So you're seeing that he's a patient runner, that he uses his feet well, and he can work through little tight confines. Speed exploits errors. And this is something that you're going to see with this particular play, because this toss outside, you see how he finds that cutback easily and gets downhill. Now there's a flag on this play. I don't care whether this play counted or not, because conceptually this is what's been working for the Dolphins regardless of whether it was successful on this particular play. You're going to see a soft edge here because you've got the man-on-man advantage to the edge to seal this inside. You have a safety in the corner who are playing outside, and they react so quickly to the outside, and Achane has enough time to read that like a punt return, press to the outside, and then dip inside and just exploit the over pursuit of Denver's secondary here. And this is what happens when essentially you run these types of plays. You give your running back a time to get up to speed. You start getting defenders overplaying the edge, and then you can work inside. And Miami's opening gargantuan holes. I mean, you take a look at this play here. I mean, look at how big this crease is as Achane gets the ball and gets downhill here. Makes one cut. The first cut he makes is 5 yards downfield. You know, even if he's not a powerful guy, he runs with good low pad level. He builds momentum. He's going to be able to finish strong enough that he can get under some tackles too. But that speed's going to get him into that lane. And with what they're doing up front, double team, get a little wind back action. The fact that you have to worry about the outside spreads the defense out. It's going to have these guys' heads swimming on what's going to happen next. You can even see, you know, with the wind back action with 0 or him lining outside. Defense slides outside, line back in here. Linebacker slides inside, opens up for 50 to seal that to the linebacker. Beautiful. Look, in terms of power, Achane is no Brian Robinson or James Conner, but he reads leverage well. He finds the creases, and he's going to get you the yards that are available and maybe then some with his speed. So he does a good job of locating where the lane is with the backside puller, presses it, and then finds back inside, and it's a nice crease. May not look like a big crease before he presses it, but he understands how to manipulate blocks, read the outside leverage, get inside, and then squeeze around that block, just like Raheem Mostert does. Scrape that side of the blocker to prevent pursuit getting to him too early. Gets a good 5 yards on it. And Miami knows what its tendencies are, so they're scouting, they're playing against their tendencies sometimes. With all this toss and outside work, what they do is then they simulate a toss, but they keep the toss to the inside. And Achane has a really nice run here. Let's take a look at it a little bit closer. You get a little bit of a wind back action with the fullback. And he gets downhill, and watch him then split the fullback and his lineman, his tackle right here. And then watch the hip opener. He's going to point the toe. Look how wide he gets his hips. That's a 90-degree point off of really a cut back inside. And then he's able to plant and get wide, and that gets him across for another 4 or 5 yards on this play. That's really agile movement and impressive movement in that tight confine. Here's another example of running against type. You get that toss with a little bit of a wind back, but instead of going outside with the motion of 0 and the defense having on it. Look at 1, 2, 3 defenders on the outside here, but he takes it inside. And you get a good push inside from your interior blockers. Double team 77, 74, your backside guard. Getting a really good push on the tackle. You get a real soft spot with the defense really trying to cut off the outside. This guy plays wide outside with that little late motion, that defensive end. And now you get a huge lane once again, and it's a punt return, but this time it's to the inside. So scheme is really beneficial here. And when you understand what it is that you like to do and that the defense is going to get a hint of what you do well, then you give them the idea that you're going outside, but then with that toss, with that lead blocker motioning late, and then you go inside and you get a huge crease. It's over. And the reason that last play works so well is when you have plays like this, where you have motion to one side behind the quarterback, then you fake the exchange to Mostert, who's a speedy back and is all right. So you get the fake read there, and this Jets motion that originated there is now a lead block because now you're tossing the end around to Achane. And because you're taking Achane, you're giving Achane all that time with 2 fakes before you give him the ball, you're freeing up the interior blockers who are on the right side to work their way to the left. And by the time Achane gets to this outside, it's a punt return one more time. And so the play before, where everyone reacted to the outside, it's because of the devastation of these outside plays where you can score a 40-yard touchdown. This is a play Tyreek Hill used to run in some variation with the Chiefs a lot, where you had essentially the potential jet sweep to one side that turns out to be a blocker. You get the read to a dangerous back. You pull that and fake it. You pull it and then turn it around here. And because of the amount of time you spent with 3 fakes and motion, it gives your interior unit time to get downhill. And now look at this. This is a punt return. One more time with the punt return. And look at these guys tripping over themselves. I mean, look at the guys on the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys on the ground. 6 guys on the ground.